Tonight's story, read by Mrs. Potier, is called The True Story of the Three Little Pigs. Let's listen and see if you agree. You listen. Do you agree with this version of the Three Little Pigs? Is he telling the truth or is he not? It's up to you. So let's listen. Everybody knows the story of the Three Little Pigs, or at least they think they do. But I'll let you in on a little secret. Nobody knows the true story of the Three Little Pigs because no one's heard my side of the story. I'm the wolf, Alexander T. Wolf, but you can call me Al. I don't know how this whole big and bad wolf thing got started, but I'm telling you, it's all wrong. Hey, maybe it's because of our diet. I'm trying to fix it where you can see my story. Hey, it's not my fault that wolves eat cute little animals like bunnies and sheep and pigs. I mean, that's just the way we are. But I'll tell you, if cheeseburgers were cute, folks would probably think you were big and bad too. But, like I was saying, the whole big bad wolf thing is just all wrong. The real story is about a sneeze and a cup of sugar. This is the real story. Dun, dun, dun. Way back in Once Upon a Time, I was making a birthday cake for my dear old sweet granny. I had a terrible sneezing cold, and I had just run out of sugar. So I walked down the street to my neighbor's house to borrow a cup of sugar. Now this neighbor, he was a pig. And he wasn't too bright either. Because you know what? He had built his whole house out of straw. I mean, can you believe it? Who in their right mind is going to build a house out of straw? So of course, the minute I knock on the door, the whole thing fell right in. I mean, I didn't want to just walk into somebody else's house, you know? So I called, little pig, are you there? Well, I was just about to leave and go home without any sugar for my dear old sweet granny's birthday cake. All of a sudden, I felt my nose started to itch. I felt a sneeze coming on, so I huffed and I snuffed. And I sneezed a great sneeze. I did. And you know what? That whole straw house, it fell completely down. And right in the middle of the pile of straw was that little pig, dead as a doornail. He'd been home the whole time. Well, it seemed like such a shame to leave a perfectly good ham dinner just laying there in the straw, so I ate it up. Think of it as a big cheeseburger just lying there. You'd have ate it too. I was feeling a little bit better, but I still didn't have that cup of sugar for my dear old sweet granny's birthday cake, you see? So I went to the next neighbor's house. Now, this guy was the first pig's brother. He was a little bit smarter, but not by much, because you know what he had done? He had built his whole house out of sticks. See that? Sticks. I rang the doorbell on his stick house, and nobody answered. But then I called, hey, little pig? No, Mr. Pig. Oh, changed it. Mr. Pig, are you in? But then he yelled back, Go away, Wolf. You can't come in, 'cause I'm shaving the hairs on my chinny chin chin. He was shaving the hairs on his chinny chin chin. But I had just grabbed the doorknob when he said all that. When I felt a sneeze coming on, I huffed and I snuffed. And I tried to cover my mouth, because, you know, that's the polite thing to do when you're going to sneeze. But I sneezed a great sneeze again. And you know, I know you're not going to believe this, but the second pig's house fell down. Right in the middle of the pile of sticks was the second little pig, dead as a doornail. Wolf's honor. He was dead. Now, you know, if your mom's told you anything, food's going to spoil if you leave it out in the open. So I did the only thing I could do. I had dinner again. I mean, think of it as the second helping, or that second cheeseburger that you might have eaten, you know? But I was getting kind of full, but my cold was feeling a lot better too. But you know, I still didn't have that cup of sugar for my dear old sweet granny's birthday cake. So I went on down the road a little further, and I came across the third little pig. Now, he was the brother of the first pig and the second pig. Now, he must have had all the brains in the family because he built his house out of bricks. He was a smart guy. He had to be. So I knocked on the brick house, actually, on his door, and I said, Mr. Pig, are you in? Now, you're not going to believe this, but that rude little porker, you know what he said to me? He said, go away, Wolf, don't you ever bother me again. Talk about rude and impolite. He probably had a whole sack of sugar just sitting around. He wasn't going to let me even have one cup to bake my sweet dear old granny's birthday cake. Oh, talk about rude. So I was just about to go home. I was going to make my grandmother a nice birthday card instead of a cake when I felt my cold coming on again. And this time I huffed. And I snuffed. And I sneezed again. This time, though, that third little pig, he was rude. He said, and your dear old granny can sit on a pin for all I care. Look at him being rude to me. Now, I'm usually a pretty calm fella, but you start talking about my grandma that way, I got a little crazy. So when the cops drove up, well, of course, I was trying to break down the door of the third little pig's house. And I was still huffing and snuffing and sneezing, and I was making a huge scene, of course. So, the rest, as they say, is history. The news reporters, they found out about the 2 pigs that I had for supper and decided that a sick guy wanting to borrow a cup of sugar didn't sound too exciting, so they just jazzed up the story about being big and bad and blowing your house down and made me out to be the big bad wolf. But I'm telling you the story, the true story. That's it. The real story. I was framed. But maybe you could loan me a cup of sugar. Hope you guys enjoyed that.